we're in a really complex ecosystem, so it can be really challenging for our policy leaders to understand what the right pathway is. So we can bring together those insights from our members. We can canvass our members to get their views, collate that into an industry perspective, and then try and bring our policy leaders on the journey to help understand why these certain pathways are a good opportunity for Australia.
Well, Susan, thanks so much for coming on to the podcast to chat with me today.
I'm very pleased to have the opportunity, Emily. Always a pleasure. Thank you.
I always like to start with a bit of a 30-second elevator pitch. So are you able to just kind of go through your name, the organisation you work for, and then I always like to chuck in one thing that you're passionate about as well?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm Susan Harris. I'm the Chief Executive at ITS Australia, or Intelligent Transport Systems Australia. Been in this role a bit over 10 years now, and it takes a while to get to know everyone because it's a big industry. I really love this role because I'm really passionate about connecting people. So that opportunity to connect people, connect organisations so that then they can make the magic happen by bringing things together and creating real opportunities to improve the way we deliver things. So particularly in the transport space, in this context, it's a complex space, so we need to bring partners together to deliver solutions. So, one of the parts that I really love about my role here.
You've kind of already answered, what is ITS? So why does it exist as an organisation? Is it to help kind of gel those partnerships together, like you mentioned, across the different facets of transport?
Yeah, for sure. So we've been around for over 30 years, and we bring together really diverse organisations that might not necessarily come across each other if there wasn't an association to bring them together. So we're not focused on particular disciplines, but we're more focused on the outcome of transport and making transport safer, making it more sustainable, and making it more effective for our community. We're able to connect not just within Australia, but we bring together an international audience as well. So we connect with ITS associations globally. So that really enables us to showcase the best of what Australia do internationally, and I'm always excited to be able to do that, and then bring the best of what's happening from overseas into the Australian context, and then shape it so we can deploy it in our space here, bringing people together to collaborate and make things happen.
I think I read that ITS Australia is one of the largest, or if not the largest, group of kind of transport organisations in the country, right?
Yeah, so we're the largest group focused on transport technology, and technology is where it's at the moment. And we've had some really great stories of big multinationals being introduced to small startups from Australia. That's created an opportunity, where there was a buyout. And so we really do bring together a diversity of government, right from the federal government, each of our state government transport agencies are members, large multinationals that are active in Australia, right through to small and medium enterprises that are just starting out in this space. So, and they've all got something to add. So that's why we're really proud of. We don't just want to represent the big end of town. It's those small innovators as well that have something really interesting to add.
So given you've just mentioned basically everything from really small to really big, you obviously then had to have a lot of different conversations with a lot of different people across very different spectrums in this industry. So in those conversations, which I'm sure you've had quite a lot of, and over your career experience, right now, what do you think would be maybe the 3 biggest ITS issues that Australia is facing?
Yeah, look, it's certainly a complex space, and lots of different stakeholders. But we really see common themes at the moment that underpin many of our conversations. So data is the obvious one. How do we leverage data to really deliver benefits into the community? And I think one of the things I'm really passionate about is, I feel like it's a kind of an immature space at the moment. We can see some real benefits in a lot of areas, but we've got an opportunity to really harness the power of that data to deliver profound benefits into the transport space for the long term. But we've kind of got a bit of a choose your own adventure stage at the moment, where we could have a really great outcome, or we could really constrain ourselves for the future. So I'm really, really working with our membership to try and make sure that as appropriate, the data is ubiquitous, that There's not some people that get access to the power of this data and some people who miss out, but also that this data isn't siloed, that we make sure we have, as far as possible, a national approach, that all our states can benefit, and that we can have a really effective community in terms of the way we manage that data. And the other spaces that we talk a lot about, of course, safety is an ongoing challenge. So we've achieved amazing results in safety in Australia in years gone by, but that's not only plateaued, but starting to turn a corner in the wrong direction. We've got great vehicles that are as safer than they've ever been. We've put a lot of work into safe systems and, improving our transport infrastructure. But people are at the heart of transport, and people make mistakes. But what we need is to protect people with technology so that people can still make a mistake, but that doesn't result in a crash that ends up in an injury or worse. So it's really looking at technology to be the backup for people. And of course, sustainability, like that is a real challenge. We've had some really interesting conversations with the federal government in the last couple of days about their net zero plan for transport. It is a huge challenge for transport as to how we decarbonise our transport system. And we know transport is key to economic success and vibrancy of people's lives. So we're really keen to look at technology solutions that can make transport more efficient. So it's, pumping out less carbon, but also making more sustainable modes more seamless and more attractive to the community. So there's a range of levers there. I don't think we've got the golden solution yet, but we're working really hard and bringing people together to have a lot of conversations.
I think if you ever find the silver bullet or the golden solution, let me know.
Yeah,
be great.
Yeah.
You've kind of alluded to it in the way that ITS helps bring different stakeholders together and different expertises into the one space. How else is ITS helping to maybe address these issues and facilitate change? I know you guys are doing a lot of joint research projects with different state governments and iMove and things like that. So if you wanted to maybe talk a little bit more about that.
We're really proud of our research program. And we pull that together by, consulting across industry. We were able to get great insights as to what the challenges are, what some of the opportunities are, and how we can tailor some research to really provide some new insights into a particular challenge in the transport technology space. And then we'll look to do that research collaboratively with a research partner, and then bringing in also a range of partners from industry. So often a mix of government and private sector to really focus on a particular challenge or opportunity, bring some findings to bear, and then share those back out into the community. So all our research gets shared back out. What we find as part of that research is it kind of stimulates conversation, which is really important. Often we'll get some really pointy, findings, which is really helpful. But it's also just the act of having the right people together in the room, forming those relationships, developing that trust, and partners that maybe aren't naturally working together in other contexts. And we'll often see that research will go on to new projects and ongoing relationships. That is where more powerful impacts come from. So we work through that research space, often partnering with iMove, which is a great funding source and a great vehicle. We also do a lot of work in the advocacy space, so reaching out to government. But the way we advocate is more advocating by informing. So as I've said a few times, I think this today, we're in a really complex ecosystem. So it can be really challenging for our policy leaders to understand what the right pathway is. So we can bring together those insights from our members. We can canvass our members to get their views, collate that into an industry perspective, and then try and bring our policy leaders on the journey to help understand why these certain pathways are a good opportunity for Australia. And then, of course, we bring people together in events. So we want to do knowledge sharing and bring people together for a collaboration, have some fun doing that.
I'm really glad you mentioned events because I was about to ask you about the ITS Summit. So it's a nice segue. You guys are running your ITS Australia Summit in Sydney, and that is on the 13th to the 15th of August, correct?
Yeah, well done.
Excellent. There's 6 themes. I don't remember the 6 themes, but there are 6 of them. But so what are the objectives you think of this year's summit that you'd like to explore, I guess, by having all these people come and hang out in the one place and have discussions.
Yeah, so this summer we do it each year, and it's Australia's biggest gathering of transport technology leaders. So it's a really great opportunity to get a download of what's happening in this space, particularly, in this new post-COVID environment. We're still a lot of working from home and a few less face-to-face meetings. So it's a really nice way to have those sort of sidebar conversations with people about, well, we've heard you're doing this project, but where's it really at? But the theme this year is safe, sustainable and inclusive transport for vibrant communities. So I think it's really interesting to draw out. So when we're talking about inclusive transport, which is a bit of a flavour of the month, but we really want to make sure that transport is effective and productive for people in all communities, in all locations. So for all people in all places. And that supporting of vibrant communities is really important. We don't want transport just for a means to an end, but we really want transport that gets you access to great employment, that stimulates the economy, creates opportunities for people. But we want transport to support great places that are great places to have fun, to socialise, to be entertained, access quality healthcare, great community services. So transport and connectivity and place are really key to all of that, and making sure that we can do that effectively and that our transport solutions really are part of being an attractive community to be in, is part of that vibrant community. So we want to leverage technology to bring that to bear. So really looking forward to getting an update on all of that from all our speakers at the summit.
Speaking of speakers, I noticed that the final program has finally been released. So what are maybe some of the initiatives or opportunities and discussions that attendees can kind of expect to have if they hang out in Sydney in August?
Yeah, so we've got a really strong cohort this year from overseas, so particularly from the Asia Pacific region. So this is a really interesting opportunity to have some sidebar conversations, but also to reach out. We've got an international leaders forum, and that we're bringing together all of our leaders from ITS Asia Pac. I think we've got about 10 different countries represented in that region. Really interesting to hear how they're solving their own transport challenges, but also lots of opportunities there for members to connect and to bring solutions that are working here and explore how they can be perhaps taken overseas into Asia Pacific. We'll be delivering some great technical tours. So we're going to be launching those in a couple of weeks, but these technical tours are put on by our members for our members. So these are exclusive to summit attendees. You get a bit of a behind the scenes look at some of the transport tech deployments taking place. We're looking at some partnerships with Toyota, with UTS and with Transport for New South Wales at the moment. So keep an eye out for those, and be registered at the summit to sort of get the latest information for those, I would suggest. In terms of what we've got going on during the week, we've also got some really great social functions. So because, as I've said, the connecting with people is one of the key parts, and we want to make sure that's a really, one of the great benefits that comes out of these events. So we kick off on the Tuesday. On the Tuesday evening, we're going to have a welcome reception in the exhibition hall. So that's always a great vibe there when everyone's, catching up for the first time and connecting. On the Wednesday, we're then going to host, there'll be a Next Gen's social function. So for our early career professionals, they can all get together and connect in that space. And then our summit social night on the Wednesday evening. On the Friday, the Thursday, I wanted to reference, we're going to have our Women in Transport reception in the morning. So that's part of our conference. This year, we are also launching our inaugural Careers Expo, ITS Careers Expo. So this is where we're working with our members, and we're inviting students from our member organisations to come in and be a part of the ITS Summit on the third day. So they'll get to have the full summit experience, go to the full program. There'll be a couple of curated sessions for our early careers, our Careers Expo participants. But then our expo will be transformed almost into a careers hall. So where our members can connect with the next generation of ITS professionals and really help to demystify what some of the career paths might look like. Talking to a lot of my members about, how they found themselves in the industry. It often wasn't a strong career choice, but we want people to be choosing transport and to be understanding the exciting options and the way they can give back, and the really interesting career pathways that are in that space. So we've had really strong interest from our university partners in this opportunity. So we're really excited to bring that on the third day of the summit.
So if people wanted to learn more, so if they wanted to look through the final program or get insights when those cool little on-site initiatives and things are released, or register, where can they go and do that?
So the best place to go to our website. So ITS Australia, ITS-Australia, as the case may be, its-australia.com.au. Have a look at our website. It is Australia's largest gathering of transport technology professionals. And as you said, from August 13 to 15 on the beautiful Sydney Harbour, we're going to be bringing together leaders from Australia and from overseas for you to come and connect and collaborate. So have a look at our website, have a scan through the speaker list. I'm sure there's people there that everyone wants to connect with, and come along to hear how Australia is really preparing to take advantage of the next wave of digital technology for transport.
And my last question. So we talked about quite a lot of things. We've talked about why ITS exists as an organisation, to what are the three big issues, and then all the way filtering down into the conference. If people kind of had zoned out for this entire episode and you wanted to summarise it into like one sentence, one key takeaway that you hope people would have, what would that be?
Yeah, we want people to be there, to be part of this conversation around the future of transport for Australia. Bring your solutions, bring your ideas, and just be part of that conversation. Yeah, thank you very much for the opportunity, Emily. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for coming on to the podcast. Super excited to see you at the summit.
Yeah, fantastic.
To learn more about any of the guests that we have on the Bite Size podcast, you can check out our show notes at compassiot.substack.com. Alternatively, if you'd like to know more about the company that runs this podcast, Compass IoT, you can visit our website, which is compassiot.com.au. Until next time.